Excellent. You are watching Whose Views 60th anniversary of the cyber race.
Our celebrations of 60 years of the Cybermen take us to 2006 and their second story in the rebooted Doctor Who. Hello everybody, it's us here at Whose Views. How are you? Welcome to our review of Army of Ghosts and Doomsday. And as you can see, I'm with Paul, I'm with George, and I'm with Miles. This is going to be fun, I can tell you already, everybody. This is going to be fun. So welcome. It's good to see you. Before we get into it, let me just give you all the usual stuff here because there is a lot to talk about tonight. But this, of course, was first broadcast on BBC One on the 1st to the 8th of July, 2006. Written by Russell T. Davies. Directed by Graham Harper. Now, there's a name. Directed by Graham Harper. Produced by Phil Collinson. Executive produced by RTD and Julie Gardner. The first episode, guys, got in old money a rating of 8.19 million. Wow. 8.19. And episode 2, Doomsday, in old money, got 8.22 million in old money. There you go. So that puts it into perspective. But can I just start off, guys, by saying 20 years.
Yeah.
So watching this...
I will do 12 in original broadcast, to be fair. Yeah,
fair enough, yeah. But watching this now, because I watched it yesterday for the first time in possibly 20 years... And is it just me, or is even from this, has the quality of television gone down the toilet?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
That was brutal to watch, personally. I think it feels really dated. I don't know. I just think it feels really, really dated. We said it before on the show before, but I struggled actually to watch those 2 episodes.
Oh right,
really
okay.
Struggled. Yeah.
That was my first thought when I watched it. I was like you, JT. I think this is the first time I've seen it since the original transmission. And the first thing that struck me was, all the bang up to the minute references have just dated it so badly.
Yeah. That's the problem with, oh gosh, Miles just disappeared, but he's been replaced by Kirsty, so he's just regenerated.
It's the first female version of Miles. Sorry about that, Miles.
Hopefully you'll get back on in a minute. But I've been saying for ages, and this is typical of RTD, everything he writes dates badly because he absolutely insists on putting everything into that time it's being broadcast. So here we've got these references that I'd forgotten about, the Barbara Windsor references and all that sort of stuff. I've forgotten who else was in it now.
Well, you've got the Derek Arcona stuff, haven't you? And all the
of course.
I forgot the guy who presents the makeover show. He did the House Doctor and stuff like that. I forgot the presenter's name. He does, I think, Escape to the Country
Alistair.
or something like that. Alistair, yeah.
Hi, Alistair.
So although you're right, all those references are just really dated massively, doesn't it? It's just such a shame.
I just thought what struck me though, guys, watching these episodes is, yes, I was expecting it to date because RTD's episodes, everything he writes dates for me. but how the mighty have fallen. Here we are in 2006, and he's written what are actually two watchable, I thought, episodes. I'm not saying they're brilliant, because we're going to get through that in the review, but they were watchable compared to what we've just been through over the last couple of years. I couldn't get over the massive differences. Because in my eyes, guys, these two episodes, people actually had some sort of fondness and love and care for Doctor Who to what was churned out over the last couple of years. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Feel free to disagree or agree.
No, I agree with you. I think it's very much. It's quite. I actually, contrary to probably panel opinion, I actually really enjoyed watching these again and watching with my missus, and she really enjoyed it as well. So that was quite encouraging. I did enjoy it originally, and I agree. There's lots of love in this. I mean, Dalek Sec is beautiful, I have to say. The Cybermen having wonderful cyber leader ears, black ears, and stuff. Fantastic stuff. You know, there's lots of tributes to classic Who in this, which is lovely. But there's so much soap opera stuff. That's the best I can't stick. You know.
Again, you've just taken the words right out of my mouth, Paul. The overdose of soap opera on steroids was the bit that really alienated me from it. I was sitting there thinking, why have you gone down this path? You could have an absolutely rollicking 2-part action adventure here. You've got all the elements in place to make it this non-stop action cavalcade, and yet the whole thing revolves around Rose bloody.
Yeah. I mean, remind me. Actually, just before we go anywhere else, this is a story that, of course, stars this man.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. I had to work out who that was for a minute,
So I just want to say, because I know he's in the chat, a big thank you to Shempmeister for sending me this. He did this little doodle for us earlier on of David Tennant, of course, as the 10th Doctor. I won't tell you what the message was that came with this.
It's a great caricature, I have to say. It's really good.
It is, isn't it? You can tell who it is straight away. It's brilliant, that. So thanks for that, Shempmeister.
That was something else that struck me as I watched them, and maybe I was being overly critical given Mr. Tennant's recent outspoken views on stuff that he's got no right to have outspoken views on. If ever there was a classic case of just get back in your box, this is it. But when I was watching this, I was looking at him thinking, sorry, what was all the fuss about? You're not knocking it out of the park at all. You're coming up with a series of cliches and caricatures. There's no real nuance to it. You're acting the part, you're not inhabiting it.
A friend of mine said when he took over the part that he thought he was trying too hard, and I tend to agree with that. He's really trying too hard as the Doctor. He's not really captured that character at all, really, I don't think.
Well, for me, he didn't. I remember vividly in 2006 not taking to him at all. In fact, the only time I actually saw what he was trying to do, I think, was just as he was leaving at the end of series 4. And then I sort of clicked and went, oh, it's as though he took all that time to settle in. But for me, all I see is a very vague impression of Tom Baker. So I'd never understood why he's been that popular.
I wouldn't praise him that highly, actually.
But I do think he tries, and I just see certain things. But just remind me at the time you mentioned it there. 2 episodes to write out Rose. Again, this was something at the time which really did pee me off, I have to say, because being old school, we were used to companions coming and going. And here is RTD writing the book about this and making it into this massive big drama at the time, all this emotional kitchen sink nonsense going on around it. And I can't remember now why. Why was that? Was it simply because the public had really taken to Billie Piper as Rose, do you think?
I think it was, I think Billie Piper was huge and surprised everyone how good she ended up being. But at this point, I don't know if the panel agree, watching season 2, both the 10th Doctor and Rose are very, very smug and highly annoying in this season. I much prefer, I think, Rose with Eccleston, to be honest. But they're very, very smug and irritating. By the end of it, you do want her just to go, because she became, for me personally, a pain in the arse, to be honest. But
it was so overwritten, her departure, with such cliched hack dialogue. I mean, it was sick bucket stuff at times. It really was. I mean, I'm no writer, but for goodness sake, if you want an emotional gut punch, less is more.
Yeah.
Yeah. We knew she was going at this point, so the public would have known she was going. So that's why it was getting 8.19 million for episode 1, 8.22 million for episode 2.
Well, I mean, you knew from the opening minutes of the first episode, even if, you know, the media circus had passed you by, because it doesn't open with, you know, a nice big cold opening of Cybermen or the Daleks or both of them, whatever. No, it's Rose Tyler going, oh, this is the story of how I die. Oh, really?
Spoilers, yeah.
Yeah. And then he plays with that, of course, because it's true in a sense, because she dies on this Earth, but she doesn't die on the parallel world, does she? Really, she just gets to. I mean, it was that whole thing. I mean, this is the episode, of course, at the beginning where Peter Davison, God bless him, had actually contacted RTD to say, is it safe for my kids to watch? Because they were very involved with Rose and they loved Rose. And that's where RTD turned around infamously and said, you bloody hypocrite, you killed off Adric. Which changed Davison's whole opinion of Earthshock now. You know, he thought, oh, maybe we shouldn't have done that, because he's experienced what it's like to have kids in the similar experience. But it was all for hype, wasn't it? It was all hype.
And sadly, and they've done this all with Modern Companions, with Clara, with Donna, etc. They keep bringing them back and then ruining this potential dramatic moment, you know. And it's what a waste, because this could have been a good way of leaving Rose out of it from now on. But she keeps coming back all the time. Likewise with Clara, likewise with Donna. You know, it's just kills any drama stone dead. You know.
Well, let's just hope we don't get to see them ever again, quite frankly, in any new version that's coming up.
Well, David's coming back, isn't he, after all? Yeah.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Well, actually, Chris Kaz is saying Tennant has cancelled his appearance at Liverpool Comic Con in October due to filming, waiting for the usual clickbaiters to say it's for new Doctor Who. I think that's where it started. But yeah.
Can I just point out there that when an artist cancels a public appearance, the standard get out of jail free card, whatever the real reason is, due to filming commitments.
Yeah, and generally Doctor Who, George. That's what that was.
But you know that is the standard answer that's always put out there on the press release.
I'll be there subject to availability. That's what it's called. Yeah.
That's it. Well, I mean, and you have to respect that, because they got to work, even though actually going to a convention they're getting paid for, so that's work. They just get more for doing their actual job. Got lots of people in the chat with us as well, so thank you for joining us, everybody.
Very quickly on that, can I just say thank you to Mr. Tennant McCann's thing. He saved some people an awful lot of money, because funny enough, earlier today on a Liverpool news feed when I was online, there was a big piece about Liverpool Comic Con, and it was going through how much the appearing talent charges for whatever. And if you had the full package with Mr. Tennant, you know, photos, selfie, 5 minutes of his time, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, you can kiss goodbye to 400 quid.
These people from the version that's just ended, take the P. They really do. They are so expensive. They're not only just they're expensive to hire in to get to the gig, and they're expensive when you're there for anybody who wants to meet them. And that's why I say the traditional conventions, like the one we're all going to in May 2027, they are on a short lease. Because I don't think the actors from any of these new modern series would actually dumb down, as it were, to attend the smaller ones. I think they're on a time limit. So
they're going to have to. They won't make any money, I'd imagine. But
well, the way that Comic Gon's going now, I mean, that's not going anywhere, and that's the template for any future one. That's a conglomerate now. That's a business. That's a huge business, and that's the way I think it's going to be. You know, once we're all done, if you know what I mean, without trying to be sad or horrible.
Well, he's just saved a lot of people a lot of money, so thank you for that.
FJ Kanau was saying to us in the chat, this was really well directed and exciting, but putting the Daleks up against the Cybermen was pointless.
It's handbags at dawn, wasn't it, to be honest? With Cybermen and Daleks, definitely, a big fest going on there.
We'll come to that. We've got Avon saying, sorry, not a massive fan of Tennant as Doctor Who. I don't like Rose, sorry, and I can't stand the mother. Well, I'm with you. The character, not the actress. I can't stand Jackie. And in this episode, although she's not as bad as I remember, I just think, why? There's too many. Why is it never just the Doctor and the assistant again, the companion again now? Why? I don't get it. I hate all this soap opera crap.
So, in all fairness, I do think the gag about Jackie Tyler being Rose in the first episode wasn't half bad. That did make me smile.
And me as well, yeah.
I didn't like it. I thought it was actually quite rubbish, because why shouldn't the Doctor be traveling with an older woman, as he does a couple of seasons later?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
it was a nice gag though, kind of sort of taking the mickey out of Rose a bit, wasn't it? I mean, that was quite funny. I actually think Camille Cadu's got great comic timing, and she makes me laugh in this a lot, especially when she meets Pete again towards the end. But there's some nice bits in it, some nice comedy. But I agree with you, JT. The soap opera stuff for me really grates my gears. I don't like it at all. I just kind of thing that's really difficult. Yeah.
I've never liked that about. I've said that before many times, haven't I? About the reboot Who. Miles and Kirsty may feel differently because they were born into this era, but I hate all that soap opera crap. I can be done with that. It gets in the way of a story, I reckon. But in this one though, it's sort of all set up through. It's because of the soap opera elements that the Doctor has taken Rose home again, hasn't they? And that's how they come into contact with all these ghost things. Interesting idea. It is an interesting idea, I must admit. This again for me, Miles, Kirsty, you might disagree. For me, episode 1, actually, RTD does do what I don't think he normally does. He actually achieves to an extent to build up some suspense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I quite enjoyed actually the first part. I actually thought it was all right, good build up. You know, I did enjoy all that part. But like I was just saying at the beginning, rewatching it, I was personally quite just bored. I don't know. I just feel like it's dated terribly. I don't know. Like I mean, even I was like the picture quality as well. I mean, I was watching it on Blu-ray and it was bad. It was still quite bad. I was checking my Blu-ray player's okay.
It wasn't filmed though for Blu-ray though, was it? It was. This is still DVD.
This would still be standard definition. Yeah.
This is still a couple of years ahead.
Might be upscaled a little bit, but obviously it wasn't. But I don't know. I just didn't enjoy it. I was watching it going, oh, can Rose just please just go? This is just so long and dreadful. Oh, and Tennant with these Tennantisms of it's draining.
Well, it's like this one here from Steve Braddock. I remember cringing badly when Tennant started singing Ghostbusters. That's just embarrassing.
That's horrible.
It's funny you should say that, Stephen, because I did exactly that when that came on screen when I watched it yesterday. I just thought, oh, that is embarrassingly bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How would the Doctor know about a movie from 1984?
Well, in Russell's world, he knows everything about popular culture, which is really quite boring. You know, it's really sad. I must admit, I did enjoy the cliffhanger for the first episode. The reveal of the Cybermen, although a little bit predictable, was really good, and the Daleks on top. If I was 5 or 6 or 7, in fact, at the time, I was really like, that would be exciting. But if 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, whatever you were, that would be very exciting for the kids. It's a lovely cliffhanger, and it does build up to that point, and that was lovely, I thought. You know,
that's what I mean. I mean, for once, he's got a script here where all the pieces actually do fall into place. So you've got the bit. I quite like the part after the Ghostbusters nonsense, where the Doctor is in the park with those triangle Toblerone things.
Yeah.
I quite like that bit because that's showing the Doctor as a scientist to an extent. I think they could have done a bit more with it. Maybe it was time, but he's there, and then the 3D specs come out because he's already got a theory. I quite like that.
Mm-hmm.
I quite like that. But then everything moves. So from the minute he arrives at Torchwood at Canary Wharf, everything sort of fits into place. I thought.
For the first episode, I thought there wasn't that much plot and there was a lot of padding.
That's modern Doctor Who, though. Welcome to modern Doctor Who.
But to me, that was like a 25-minute episode 1 of a 4-parter stretched out to 45 minutes.
Yeah.
You could have taken 20 minutes of soap opera out of it and told exactly the same story and had a much tighter, much pacier episode.
Oh, easily. I mean, this is again the laziness, Kirsty, I think, of RTD, because he's done this in every show before Doctor Who. He would use a TV presenter or something like that as exposition to show people what was going on. He doesn't want to write about it. He just save time. I'll have a newsreader or something like that telling the viewer this is where we're at in the story. And I think that's lazy, personally.
And I have to say that the one thing that I really did like with the direct homage to Tomb of the Cybermen, with the Cybermen breaking out of their cellophane.
Oh, out of the plastic.
Yeah.
What were we going to say, Kirst?
But I was just going to say earlier on that I was one of those excited kids. I was 11 at the time. I was a pig in mud that weekend because I think it was when it was like the end of term dance show, so I was like living my best life, and I had the first of the two-parter Doctor Who, and I still remember the BBC indents that they'd have on the radio. And I remember being in the family car and hearing the boom, boom, boom of the Cybermen, and they were advertising it, and just like buzzing my nut out that I'll get to be on stage and be glamorous, and then I get to go home and watch my Doctor Who. So like this was like my first sort of like Avengers team up sort of thing, having the Daleks and the Cybermen together. So like it has aged and it is dated, and there's so much I can pick apart from it, but there's like that little bit of the nostalgia in me that was like my first companion that was leaving, how like, big and dramatic it was, and how amped up it was that it was all roads were leading down to this, that I'm still like 11-year-old Kirsty who has that love for Doctor Who and was like learning to love sci-fi. I was just like, yeah, this is wicked. So it's like the little Kirsty, my inner child, is still like, yes, this is amazing. But like the soap opera stuff now, like as an adult and watching classic Who, it's too much, and it's a bristle spread all over. But there is some actually redeeming good stuff about it. But again, I agree with Paul, watching series 2 again as an adult, that they are really insufferable and really cocky, and karma got them. Oh no.
Yeah. And we mentioned that, didn't we? We mentioned how insufferable they were when we looked at the Satan Pit. And the Incredible Planet, or Impossible Planet. We mentioned that then as well. Julianne is agreeing with Miles. By this story, I was begging for Rose to just go away. Actually, I wanted Tennant gone as well. And Jess Corbin saying, Army of Ghosts. But we do need to remember that these were not the original from Mondas Cybermen. Yeah. They came from the parallel. I mean, this is in a sense a sequel to the thing we reviewed a few months ago, The Rise of the Cybermen in the Age of Steel, because this is the Cybermen from that universe coming through, isn't it, from the parallel world? Interesting. And I think that, again, is just something else for Russell to say, well, I want to bring back Mickey, and I want to bring back Rose's parallel world father, and I want to bring the characters around them back. And then writing a story around it, maybe. It's just how I think. Andy 4 is saying to us, Army of Ghosts was much better than Doomsday. The Daleks and the Cybermen were sidelined for the boring Rose drama.
They were, yeah.
Russell Logan can never, ever, ever, ever do a two-parter that is on par, that is level with each other. One of them always gives us blue balls that he'll hype us up to the first episode and then let us down.
Yeah, normally part 1's quite good and part 2's rubbish. And Moffat did the same thing, didn't he?
I was going to say Moffat did the same thing, and I can't speak about Chibnall, of course, but there's always that. And I think that's just, again, I think it's just because they drive up with ideas. It's a case of like, oh, we've got such and such here with us, we've got such and such and such, and this is happening, and this is happening, and big build up, get the viewing figure, and then they'll just come back to see the resolution. But the resolution never pays off. In my eyes, anyway. Space Peninsula is saying to us, I like these episodes fine enough. However, they started the trend of companions needing a big send-off. They constantly tried to outdo each other with each successive companion. That's a fair point. And Connor Sullivan is saying, I remember watching this episode, Doomsday Live, around my friends. Everyone wanted to watch the World Cup football at the time, but I wanted to watch Doctor Who, so I had to watch it on a small TV in my spare room.
Do you remember, I forgot the World Cup was on, but you remember they had the Radio Times covers with the Cybermen and the Daleks holding the football? Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're great covers. But I can't remember when the Dalek one came out, if it came out and spoiled it or not. But we have been spoiled by the BAFTAs, didn't they? I think Dalek Sec appeared on the BAFTAs at one point.
Yes, yeah, the black
by
Daleks
mistake.
did appear.
I think, yeah.
Apparently there was some heads that rolled on that one. Yeah, but these are the Radio Times covers for the 8th to the 14th of July, and this is where the BBC, the Radio Times, cottoned on to the fact that Doctor Who fans will buy the same magazine with a different cover. Now that started with Star Wars with the Phantom Menace. Do you remember in 1999? And then suddenly Empire was doing all this sort of stuff, and then everybody else started to do it, and it bloody worked. And millions of us fell for it because I've got 4 of those. It's the same magazine, one of each, 2 of each cover.
Yeah,
and they started doing it with the various Doctors. Never again because there's 150 of them now. It's hard work.
But they got a Radio Times cover almost every other week didn't they? It was really annoying. Yeah.
Also, this would be back when the Radio Times would have had a fairly decent circulation and readership, which isn't the case now.
Yeah, 20 years ago, we were living in a different country all round on every level. Totally different. Only 20 years ago. And in my opinion, we've gone that way rather than that way.
Well, it was interesting to note in those covers that you just had on screen, JT, the cover price was 95 pence. The Radio Times now is north of £5.
Yeah.
And also, interestingly there, the black Dalek at the front there, for some reason, has got a silver base, whereas on TV, it was completely black top to bottom, wasn't it?
I thought that was just lighting, because the Cybermen look a bit off as well. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, so this was... I can't remember whether or not I was quite into Doctor. I was putting up with it. I mean, I wasn't a fan of season 2. I have to be honest. I may have said that before. I wasn't a fan. Rose was getting on my nerves. The relationship between the Doctor and Rose was getting too cocky and know-all-y. And I was glad. No disrespect to Bill. I was glad that Rose was going because I thought the series needed to freshen up. And I can't remember whether or not I must have known the Daleks were coming back into this as well. Surely.
I think there was another spoiler in the previous, before Army Ghosts, was it Fear Her, the one before, when they did the kind of next time trailer. I think it was a shot of some humans being exterminated. You saw a shot of someone being exterminated, and that was a bit of a spoiler for an eagle-eyed Doctor Who fan like myself. So I did notice that, yeah.
I seem to remember there was a lot of press coverage about the Daleks coming back at the time.
Was there?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
My memory is, yes, I was aware that the big reveal for episode 2 was the Daleks were there as well before it actually happened.
Because it was a big sell. I remember obviously everybody around me, this is big. This is the first time the Daleks and the Cybermen had ever been seen on screen together. So that ending, again, like I was saying before, for me and for Miles and Kirsty, who are younger, this must have been quite good because that build-up actually works. What RTD is doing in the show, what he's doing. Kara, by the way, Kara the Tolkien nerd's with us, saying, I have to say it was not one of my favorite episodes. Hope everyone's all right with you, Kara. It's good to see you. But even the music, it plays its part into that build-up. You actually start to feel a sort of what's going on. And I do vaguely remember feeling the same thing 20 years ago when watching this, thinking, this great big gold thing,
this void ship, yeah.
I remember feeling quite excited, thinking it's opening. What's it going to reveal? I don't ever remember thinking, I know the Daleks are in there.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah, for definite. Yeah, I wasn't sure. Yeah, at that point.
It was. I thought that worked quite well. Miles, Kirst, do you remember when the sphere opens and you see the Daleks coming out? Because that's there not just for the older fans like us. It's more there for the younger ones to go, guess what's coming next week? You've got to come back.
Yeah, I mean, like, as much as I don't enjoy it now, I was 7 when this came out, so it's a big perspective here. But at the time, oh my god, it was like Chris was saying, this was like Avengers level like hype. This was crazy. The Daleks are back, Cybermen are back, fantastic reveal, like great sort of cliffhanger at the end for it. So yeah, back in the day, I remember this was big, and everyone was talking about it. Everyone in school was talking about it. It was massive. Watching it now, yeah, obviously we know, so it doesn't have any sort of special fondness now, but back then, oh my god, it was amazing back then.
I love that. The kids were talking about it at school, the Daleks and the Cybermen are on.
Crazy.
Isn't that fab? Because we would have been the same in our day if they'd ever even, because they never got around to it, of course, in our day, in the original series. I know. I think it was Uncle Terry at one point, George, that had the idea, or somebody mooted at one point.
Yeah, there was an attempt during Patrick Troughton's time.
Was it Patrick? Right.
Yeah.
Was it Terrence?
I can't remember, but wasn't the mooted storyline that the Daleks and the Cybermen team up to destroy the Doctor? But it never happened, obviously.
Yeah, and with Nation withdrawing the Daleks as well, that all went.
I wonder if they had to pay more money to the nation state to have them being fighting against the Cybermen, because you know what the state was like with any kind of anything that threatened the Daleks. You know what I mean?
What do you mean was? They still are.
But
you just know you just know that because of that. And you've got the famous quote now, which I'll give RTD as due, was funny and is still funny and is accurate. You know that the Daleks are going to wipe out the Cybermen so quickly, they're not even going to bother looking at them. They're just going to go, oh, for heaven's sake, what's this getting in the way? Get rid of it. Zap, 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 move on. And you just knew that. So even though it was a thrill to be able to say, oh my God, the Cybermen and the Daleks are going to be together, there's going to be some sort of battle here. I felt a little bit let down at the time and watching it again, because the Cybermen seem to be with the humans that are in Torchwood Tower at this point, and that's not what they were doing 5 minutes ago, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. As I said in the chat, I think the Dalek Cybermen thing got put to the side very quickly to get on with the parallel universe and get rid of Rose, which is a real shame. But there are some nice lines in this. The Dalek line about this is not war, this is pest control.
Yeah.
But they're a bit bitchy, aren't they, with each other? You know,
well, that's Russell, though, isn't it?
Concept of elegance, that's obvious and stuff like that. It's kind of it's a bit of a bitch off, isn't it? Yeah.
But that's Russell writing for you. I remember at the time being a little bit unhappy with the dialogue between the two species, because I thought, no, this is just a gay fest.
Yeah.
You know, this is two drag queens getting at each other here, Russell. Tone it down. And no, they should have been a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more fierce. Well, because they're both running on logic.
Yeah.
So imagine two Oraks from Blake 7 talking to each other. That's what it should have been.
Well, that's where you got that great line from Mickey, which they would not get away with now. It's like, is it Richard Hawkins? What's his name? Hawkins versus the talking clock. That kind of thing. They never get away with that, would they? You know, now because they think it's on PC. You know, but they did it then. You know.
Well, a lot of people today wouldn't know who Stephen Hawkins is, would they? Because he's been dead for God knows how many years now. Which is, you know, shocking. Graham Harper's penchant for including a distorted image of a main character is present in this story, says Stephen O'Neill. And we've got Farsight coming in to say the big battle was awful. A lot of stationary Cybermen shooting at the Daleks. And did you notice as well? I noticed back in the day, but did you notice well there's the same shots of the Cybermen falling down are used a couple of times because there's a Dalek in the background. So they've used the same shot. I thought that was a bit lazy. I mean, what's that about continuity?
Some of the CGI as well is really dated in this. You know, the bits when the Daleks fly across Canary Wharf, that is like, that's give me Underworld anytime. Yeah. So.
Yeah, with all the CSO. Let's get into the chat and see what everybody's saying to us there. John Roberts, this is interesting, guys. John Roberts is saying, I hate the way the Cybermen march like robots, which they are not. Now, we talked about that in the last one. Kirsty, what's it called? The Rise of the Cybermen and
Age of Steel.
Thank you. I said it before and I've forgotten it again. And Emilio, when he was with us, he was saying this was the age of the Iron Man movie. So he reckons the design was put around about the Iron Man. Again, I watch these things. I look at these Cybermen. I think, oh, how could they have got it so wrong? They are not.
It's so derivative, isn't it? That's the thing.
It is. I mean, you can't see any aspect of the human or the humanity that the Cybermen were. I don't like the voice either that Nick Briggs has come up with. I don't like it.
I was, on the subject of that, again, personal observation. Nick Briggs came across to me as being very actory with the Dalek dialogue, putting a lot of emphasis and stress where it wasn't needed.
Yeah.
He was certainly playing to the back of the stalls when he was delivering a lot of those lines.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah. Okay. I know what you mean. Yeah, large darling. We can't hear you, darling. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I was
up.
Yeah, I was told many times in my day, calm it down, love. All right. Yeah. The other way. Terrible Cybermen 2, says Farsight, like a cross between Robocop and C-3PO. I don't like these versions of the Cybermen at all. Stomp, stomp, stomp. Doesn't work for me. And Sadeko, hello you. I think by this point I was growing wary of RTD's Doctor Who, not least because of the horror of Love and Monsters. Stephen O'Neill saying to us, guys, was that before this?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Two before, I think it was. Yes. Yeah.
Gosh, was it? I can't. Oh God. See, that's been dismissed from my memory. Stephen O'Neill saying to us, the working title for this episode was Torchwood Rises. I didn't know that.
Something else I noticed watching this was Torchwood is another one of these top secret organizations that got branding and logos everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's very, very true, isn't it, when you put it out? Obviously, because they were pushing the forthcoming series, weren't they, at this particular point? It was all about the spin-off and how big that was going to be. Ha, ha, ha. Thanks for that, Stephen. I didn't know that. Dalek Shalom is saying, 2 of the worst episodes of Doctor Who I've ever seen. And then we've got some praise, and we'll talk about it. We've got Frankie Stanage saying Tracy Ann Oberman was okay in this, and Space Peninsula saying Tracy Ann Oberman was great in this, stole the episodes for me. Now, I'd forgotten that Tracy Ann Oberman was in this until I put it on. She manages to pull off here a very bizarre character. She is in awe of the Doctor and everything around him, and yet she's not particularly... She doesn't warm up to him till just before she's cybernized. Oh, spoilers. There is something about this character. She's not a good guy at all. And that sort of sets the scene for what's going to happen within Torchwood, I reckon, as Torchwood moves forward. What do you think?
Well, she's definitely a bit of a cow, isn't she, to be honest? She's quite bitchy.
I like that. Oh, she's a bit of a cow.
I certainly thought she was one of the stronger elements of the 2 episodes, but she just disappears halfway through.
She gets killed off.
Yeah, and then get a bloody awful moment when she cries.
But the
tear, that's bloody awful. That,
What is that about? I mean, why? I mean, it's black, like it's oil.
Astral GTX or something.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just check here. Miles, Kirst, as the youth on the panel, did you mind that? Because these episodes have been written deliberately by Russell to be emotional, in his soap opera way. Though us 3 at the top here on Celebrity Squares, right? Those 3 at the top of us here, old enough to remember the original series without any of this crap in it. We don't like that. What are your reactions to that tear from the Tracy Ann Oberman Cyberman?
As a kid, I was like, oh, like that's quite sad. But as an adult, you can see that's just like, that's get out of jail card writing to make you feel something about her being cybernized, regardless of what you think of her as a character, because she's quite a grey character. You don't really know whether you like her or not with how she behaves. But that was a get out of jail card of a tear that she's been cybernized. But as an ex-child, I just thought it was quite sad.
Yeah. I think watching it now, you go, "Oh God, that's awful."
Yeah.
Are we supposed to feel sad for her, even though she's been brutal for the past, episode and a bit? But like I say, I was completely different back then. I was 7 years old, so at the time, I remember watching this and going, "Oh, that's quite sort of upsetting. It's a bit brutal." Because I mean, at that point, Doctor was quite fresh to me. So I mean, I don't know. I felt the way they went into behind the the bit and it started making the noises and they screamed and that. It was quite brutal for my age group, maybe. Yeah, I thought it was quite horrible.
It's quite refreshing. It has some scary moments in it. So I imagine from you, Miles and Kirsty, at your age, you may have been quite scared by some of it, because it's quite scary in places,
The one thing that struck me watching it yesterday, and I could be, really picking holes in this, but Torchwood, this top secret organization with security coming out of its ears and not aware of what's going on in its own building a few floors down.
Yeah. Is that nitpicky? I don't know if it is.
Well, remember Beryl reading Earthshock. That's all I'm saying.
No, that's true.
So, yeah.
It's interesting to see what Miles and Kirsty are saying though as well. And of course, Kirsty, this is another one in her education of Doctor Who, and especially this year as we're celebrating 60 years of the Cybermen, because you can now see some of the other Cybermen, the proper Cybermen. It's an interesting balance, I think, to talk about here. Mark Grieve is asking, do you think they'll always bring in an alternate universe when they can't think of anything new? Yes.
Yeah.
Short and sweet. Yes, I do.
I think it's partly towards they didn't want to spoil the continuity of the previous Cybermen, wasn't it? I think that's why they did it.
Was it?
I think initially they were trying to be kind, and then they didn't give a shit after that. I think, you know. But,
well, I don't understand that. Why? Yeah. I mean, it's it's supposed to be Doctor Who. You've got the Daleks who have been given a slightly fresh continuity, but they still reference Davros and stuff from the very first off, Skara, etc. So why can't these be? I reckon. Now you've said that, Paul. I'm off, everybody. I reckon now it's just so simply they could put them in these tin can designs and redesign them all and say, "Oh no, they're from an alternative."
Probably, yeah.
So must have a list of and to be honest, the three of them, they must have a list on the wall when they're writing of solid, concrete characters that have been here since day .1. How can we make them ours that it'll be difficult for the next person that takes over to do something about it? So there'll be the alternative universes and duplicates and comets with twins of the same species. So it's just that.
I think they've forgotten about the Cybermen. Well, they had done after this. By the time you get to I think Matt Smith and then Capaldi, etc., they're no longer the Cybermen. You know, but they don't. You know.
Well, we've done a Capaldi. We are doing a Smith. I'm really, really excited about all that. So we've got Paul Chalmer saying to us, "Good evening, JT and the panel, of course. I'm 50 minutes behind your live stream. Outrageous. But may I say how awful granddaughter Susan's departure would have been if her played as sugar stickly as Rose's farewell." Exactly. I mean, maybe times have changed, George. But
George the Bullet then, I think. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a great point from Paul. You know, ditto Joe Grant, ditto Sarah Jane Smith.
Yes.
As I said before, less is more.
Yeah.
And the most abrupt one in my eyes was the departure of Tegan.
Yeah.
Up and left like that. It was just tagged on at the end, as it would be. Yeah. Here you've got 2 nearly hour episodes basically about the importance of Rose. I remember I remember things at the time as well, guys. I remember things at the time. RTD going out about how he was concerned because Rose was the first companion for many of the youngsters at the time. Hence why they'd also brought Liz back earlier on in the season to say he has travelled with other people before.
Yeah, to set them up for that. Yeah,
to set them up for her departure. Yeah.
But compare this to the Hand of Fear. You know, the Hand of Fear was structured that Sarah Jane Smith was central to the story. So the character had a good farewell story, but the story wasn't about her leaving. That was a real gut punch at the end.
Yeah.
I think it would have been more had they done that sort of thing here for Army of Ghosts and Doomsday, rather than announcing it at the beginning, because the audience must have known Billy was going. They must have done.
Yeah.
So they knew Billy was going. They would have tuned in anyway to see how she would have gone. He could have really have built up episode 2 with that whole dramatic, departure as a big surprise. But then you get the last 10 minutes or whatever it is of Doomsday about them, a voice and them traveling along.
Yeah, that's the one of the part of the problem was if it ended on her being sucked into the void and that was it, that would be fantastic. And I actually quite like Murray's music setting it all up. It's quite emotional. It's a usual Murray go, let's make you feel emotion, but I like the piece of music. But if it actually ended there with her going into the void and that was it, that'd be more dramatic. But then you get all the going to trying to find the doctor burning up a son in order to contact, all that kind of stuff. You just want to vomit, don't you? Let's be honest.
Yes. I do.
Another point here, which again I might be nitpicking. So the void's opened up, and it's dragging all the Daleks and the Cybermen the world over back through the void, and the Doctor and Rose are clinging on to these things stuck on the wall. Stuck on the walls. We're having their arms locked around them like that. Because when you activated them, the weight of them, they were immobile, which is fine. But the force of this void pushing everything from the world over back through it, surely it would have just ripped their arms off and sucked them through.
Well, no, because it's actually explained in the episode, isn't it, that the void stuff bit with all the glasses, that if you've been in the void or if you've been in the other parallel world, that's what it's after. That's why the desks and stuff because they're from our world.
That's what I mean. So they've been in the void, they've been covered in void stuff. And the power of this thing was dragging all the Daleks and the Cybermen the world over into it.
Yeah.
And yet these two are right next to the epicenter of it,
and it's trying to get them. It's trying to get them. And as you see, when she lets go of the lever, it sucks her through. Now, if the Doctor had let go of the magnetic clamp thingy, he would have been sucked through into it as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's part of this drama that I think works well, because it is part of the drama of the episode to say, look, those two are in danger as well, more so because they're near the actually entrance to the void thing, really.
But the force of the void sucking everything through would have just ripped their arms off, is the point I'm making. Because, I think we have to have a little bit of disbelief there as well, especially for the children. You can't have the Doctor losing his arms.
He just regenerated another one, surely. That's what the last time.
Surely a Cyberman somewhere along the line would have thought, I just need to hang on to something heavy and I'll be okay.
No, they're not. Well, these Cybermen.
But let's not criticize the science, because it's so accurate, isn't it? Let's be honest.
I mean, that's the thing about this, isn't it? Something like that we have to just take as read, really. What we got here.
If you thought it through and they put a line in something like, it creates a force shield around you.
So Dako was saying to us in the chat, the battle was too one-sided. And Jess Corbin, hi Jess, the Time Lord's capsule prison was quite good, especially when there was continuous stream of Daleks pouring out. Now that, I remember thinking that's actually quite clever, because it's brought out Time Lord science. And I don't think anybody would have put two and two together. The fact that what the Time Lord science, of course, is it's bigger on the inside. It's perfect. So that was actually quite good. Oh, it's a prison ship. How many Daleks? Millions. Of course. It makes perfect sense.
I did. One of the things I did like about this, I like the idea of the cult of Skaro as well. That was quite a nice touch.
Did you?
Yeah. You didn't, obviously. I can tell by your tone.
Well, Dalek Shalom is saying the cult of Skaro saved the show. Imagine if they hadn't been in it, still the monsters felt background to all the human relationships.
Yeah.
For me, I'm quite indifferent to it, because at the time, I was just thinking, I think it was a mistake to give them names. Well, I do quite like the dynamic between the four of them. It took me back to what the Daleks were like in previous Daleks, pre-Davros.
And it was good you got to see them again later. You got them in Daleks in Manhattan, and you got them in the last Dalek one the Tenant had as well, But
I got the impression giving them names was a homage to evil of the Daleks, with Daleks Alpha, Beta, and Omega.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
There's a great outtake on one of the making of Confidential or whatever, where Nicholas Briggs, the dubbed in Dalek Kevin, was one of the things they did for a joke for Graham Harper. And so the last one's Dalek Kevin, like that. Which is
Dalek Kevin.
So I quite like that. Yeah.
That's camp.
Yeah.
Lots of you in the chat with us. It's great to see you all.
Can I just mention, sorry, quickly? They also ruined Rose's departure a few episodes prior in the Satan's Pit, when the devil says that she will die in battle so very soon. So they had to again sort of ruin the fact that she was leaving. And then they sort of, Rose bring it up? Yeah, she brings it up again later on. So we did get sort of told that she was going some way, shape, or form.
I'd forgotten about that. You're right. Yeah, again, it's one of those little hints, isn't it? That or running themes they put into it. Who will die in battle very soon, and here it is. Here's the battle. Although, as usual with all these sort of things, a lot of the battle is off screen. Wherever the Daleks and the Cybermen are fighting out, it's off screen. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that, Miles. That's a great point. So again, and because let's face it, in those days, 20 years ago, everybody, Doctor Who's audience was fairly regular and quite high.
Yeah.
They would have picked up on that.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just fans watching this thing, it was the not-wees as well. People that were about to become fans. The general public was watching this thing every week, every Saturday night. Oh, the old days, eh?
I must admit, I did like, going back to what George said about some of the homages they have in the episode to old classic Who, was the fact that one Dalek is capable of destroying all, which goes back to Master Plan. It's also the way of getting around the fact that Day of the Daleks has 3 Daleks. It's that kind of making them more powerful. And I'm glad the Daleks won over the Cybermen, because I think they should have done anyway. But I do agree in the chat that actually the Cybermen were defeated far too easily, to be honest. Yeah.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
I think
it's a bit more of a fight up, and maybe one Dalek could have been destroyed, but
those scenes when they were realised on screen, it did remind me of the less than convincing battle at the end of Day of the Daleks, where everybody just lined up and fired guns.
Yeah. I always thought, even as a boy, the Daleks would make mincemeat of the Cybermen.
Yeah.
Because for our Cybermen, as we've seen through this year, through our series, our Cybermen, very human. The human body is within the outfit, within the armor, whatever you want it to be. Here it's not. Here it's just the brain. The brain's removed from the human body and put into a tin can. I don't agree with that at all. So those tin cans in this version are even more able for a Dalek to just slice right through. That's just me. I've always thought that Who views, even when I was a kid, if the Daleks and Cybermen ever met, the Daleks would win easy. And RTD proved me right in this one. Andy's got this. The inhuman body horror side of the Cybermen was toned down. How did they get into the building? So that must have been, as what's his name, Pete says, the Cybermen started crossing into our Earth. So that must have been through those. That's where it must have brought them out. It must have brought them out as Canary
the
Wharf
ghost ships
being
thing.
built.
But they were only appearing as ghosts. They didn't have corporeal form then, did they?
Yeah.
So
no, they needed the energy. So
how did they set it up?
Yeah, they must have communicated with all those silly. Well, actually, let's just say silly humans and scientists thinking, "Oh, we've got to solve this." Some things are best not solved. As this episode goes on. I mean, that's the whole thing about the ghosts, isn't it? The whole ghost thing. I don't remember thinking, "Oh, they're the Cybermen." Did you at the time?
No, what they needed was some kind of traitor, human traitor like Kelman or something like that to be there to help.
Or Tobias Vaughan.
Or Tobias Vaughan. Yeah.
Do you know who would have been good for that role?
Oh yes, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Mm-hmm. She'd built the whole of Torchwood up around this because she was a cyber agent.
That'd be good, yeah.
Hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it, T. Davis? Isn't it? There was lots going on in this. I want to talk. We'll talk about the Cybermen in a minute because we are celebrating 60 years of the Cybermen, as we know. So I want to talk a bit more about them and their involvement in this. But before I mention, I just want to say on the power of the Daleks. No pun intended. It is menacing in this. I think it's absolutely fantastic. And again, we're getting a repeat of what happened in series 1 with this guy. Bless him. Is that close?
Yeah.
Who it's just stupid, isn't he, guys? At the end of the day, Rose warns him.
Yeah, I love when he gets desiccated by the Daleks. That was lovely. Yeah.
Brutal. Yeah.
But again, it brings, all those years that we had, guys, of why has the Dalek got a sink plunger on it? I mean, one thing I'll give the modern version that's just ended, it answered that question beautifully, and that's something that can be taken on into the future now. These things are deadly.
As an adult, it's quite comical, but as a kid, it was quite scary, I'd imagine, yeah.
It must have been, because it's not that, it's actually quite a horrific scene as well, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't need him alive.
When Dalek Sex says kneel, that is fantastic. It's wonderfully threatening. I really like that. Yeah,
it's quite scary, that, isn't it?
Yeah,
and he does, and then that's the end of him. And poor old Rose is totally shocked by this, isn't she? She's sort of expecting something, but not quite. I mean, that must have been quite scary for you two as kids.
I thought it was wicked.
You
there you go. The few years difference. Yeah, I mean,
were you petrified, Miles? Were you?
It was disgusting at my age.
Yeah.
And the sound effects it made as it was sort of sucking his. It was horrible then. I mean, now it's funny because it's terrible CGI, but then that was disgusting.
It's one of those few examples in the version that's just ended, guys, of some sort of attempt at horror.
Yeah,
not to the extreme that we got it, because ours was a little bit more adult. But I can't think of these examples really now because I'm so distant from it. But I remember at the time thinking, more of that, please.
They did a similar bit in Dalek, didn't they? With the guy who's torturing the Dalek, there's a similar thing with his face as well when the Dalek gets out. Yeah. I think I just wish they'd gone for that a bit more and had those elements in a little bit more. I can't remember much of what happens after this, so maybe they did. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know. I can't really remember any of it. Cybermen. I don't understand. So those guns they're using are the same guns that Mickey had. So was there an allusion to the fact that the humans and the Cybermen were actually working together for a short time, and the Cybermen turn on them. I mean, what?
I reckon he nicked them.
Confused. Yeah.
I reckon because Mickey is a completely different character in this story, isn't he? He's really different. I reckon he's just nicked them from whatever adventures he's been having on the other Earth, because there's a lot of time that's passed here, isn't it? There's several years passed.
3.
I think so.
You said 3, is it not? Did they say?
Yeah.
Something like that.
3?
Something like that. Yeah.
So he's had a lot of adventures since, hasn't he? And Jake's with him as well, and all this sort of stuff. But I just don't think you have that lovely setup with Army of Ghosts where the Cybermen are revealed, and you think, whoa, okay. Then the Daleks are revealed, end of episode, and then it becomes a Dalek story more than a Cyber story. Or am I wrong?
Well, I think both Daleks and Cybermen do get sidelined quite a bit, like we said earlier, because of the nature of trying to get Rose's exit. They both get sidelined. The Daleks maybe have a more prominent role in it, but not that much, I don't think.
I think the Daleks are a bit better served overall. But as you said, Paul, both of them are sidelined because it's all about Rose.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a shame, really. Yeah. Again, I just think this is, it's all about Rose, but I think it's all about what big bad can I put into it? Oh, I know. I'll do the fan thing. Daleks, Cybermen, put them together, and I'll write something around them.
I think for season 2, he peaked too early with that one, I think, but you could have waited for that, So
yeah, they could have. Yeah, he was so full of big ideas, though, Russell, wasn't he?
But he was as each finale went on, he tried to make it bigger and bigger and bigger, and that made it smaller and smaller. You know what I mean? But it was just fairly crap, because the one with the Master's terrible. The cliffhanger for that with the Toclophane's terrible.
Oh, that's the next one, isn't it?
Yeah.
So he could have actually have done that. He could have have done the Cybermen and the Daleks at the end of that one, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I got the feeling watching this that Russell T Davies originally wrote this story when he was 12 years old in a school exercise book.
Yeah.
When he was a rabid Doctor Who fan, and he dug it out like 35 years later, went, "Yep, I'll use that for the 2-part finale."
And this comes from a man that hasn't seen Space Babies.
There's still time.
I wouldn't wish that on him at all. PTA with us. PTA saying early appearance from Freema. I much preferred to Martha and Donna stories. Again, I'd forgotten until I watched it again. But here's Freema.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is her name Adiola or something like that? It's her cousin or something.
Yeah, it's the cousin, isn't it? Apparently, yeah. It happens to look a bit like her. But at this point, we didn't know that Freema was going to be kept on for the next series, albeit with a different character. So, it's a sort of, it's one of those Doctor Who-y type things, isn't it? Are we like that person? So,
they do an awful lot in New Who, don't they? Let's be honest. Yeah.
Well, they did it more recently with the Gatwa era with the 2 girls in that, didn't they?
Yeah.
Well, it's nothing new. Let's not forget that Peter Purvis played a totally different character in the story that he was introduced in as a regular.
Yeah. Interesting again, though, when it comes to these characters, because Paul, going back to your point, that's where the henchmen working for the Cybermen would have been better, because these characters just disappear behind the plastic. There's something missing for me in that whole setup. The Cybermen just happen to be behind this. What have they got a cyber base behind there or something? Obviously they have. It's just, I don't know.
As I said, for me when I was watching yesterday, the big glaring hole in the story was, how are you not aware of the fact that they're in your building and doing what they're doing?
I wonder how many people they actually kidnapped. And why Torchwood is supposed to be this big organization which is about aliens and technology, why they didn't notice? Because she's actually the Tracy Ann Oberman character, the character name I can't remember. She's actually a very, very early version of the woke HR we're about to see it within the next 10 years.
You surely HR would have said something about the high staff turnover.
Yeah. Also, why are all these bodies suddenly appearing here? Are they drunk? But I mean, she's all that emotive crap that goes on in HR now, all that woke stuff, isn't it?
I'm a people person. All that stuff,
the people person, the touchy feely thing. Yeah. Oh, we're going to fire you, but we're going to talk to you about it first to make sure you're all right about it. All that crap.
Yeah.
Julianne is saying to us that Tracy Ann Oberman was standout in this soap opera, yet again, but another wasted character in Modern Who. They're very good at that. There's some great actors throughout the version that's just ended, but some of them are given such bizarre characters that they are forgettable. I'd forgotten, guys, for example, until yesterday, that David Warner was in a Matt Smith Doctor Who.
Was it?
Yeah, he's in an Ice Warrior one. Yeah,
I'd completely forgotten.
Cold War. Yeah.
Yes. And it was a friend of mine that said, "Oh, are you going to review that?" And I was like, "What? which one was that?" What?
He's wasted in it as well, to be honest. Yeah.
It happens a lot, doesn't it? Yeah. Legion of James, it's good to see you. How are you? Thank you for joining us. He's just got in there. Doctor Who 1963. The Ark needs area 13 square miles. Move it. Yeah. Very strange. And Space Peninsula, my nitpick is when Pete comes back to save her and suddenly neither of them are being pulled into the void and has time to give a forlorn look at David Tennant before leaving again. Yeah. Again, you have to have a little bit of a license there because that's for the audience, isn't it? That's just the drama. That's just the theatre, the drama. I'll tell you who else was who was little at the time when this thing was put out. It was Emilio. Hello.
Hey.
Evening all. How are you doing?
Very good to see you. We are obviously mid conversation now about Army and Ghosts and Doomsday. So come on then. What did you think?
How old were you first? Don't leave us hanging.
Well, I think I said it to you, JT. I think if you were to take the kind of lovey things out of it, the romantic stuff, basically, I do think actually as a season finale, it's definitely a blockbuster finale. I think obviously putting the Daleks and Cybermen in the episode together is a bit like a fan's kind of fan's dream, basically, to see that happen. And obviously there's some really funny dialogue that happened between the two. But I do think that overall, again, if I take the romantic stuff out, I actually really enjoyed the finale. I think it's just a shame that the Daleks turn up so much in the first era of Russell's that it kind of diminishes it every time that they reoccur each finale. But I think at the time when I watched this, I remember as a kid being, this is awesome. This is just a lot of fun. So yeah.
Oh, how old were you?
Was it 2006? So
yeah,
10?
20 years ago.
10.
Oh, so similar ages for the three of them on the bottom row there. Yeah. Interesting, isn't it? Yeah, I can understand it though. From a kid's point of view. I mean, this is a very kid-friendly 2 episodes and story, isn't it? Because there's a lot going on. There's a lot of action going on. You've got the Daleks, you've got the Cybermen, you've got the Doctor, you've got Rose, you've got Mickey, you've got Jackie. Can I just mention that by this point as well? I'm not a fan of Jackie in Doctor Who. I don't like her. I think she's more EastEnders than she is Doctor Who. I don't like her. Not the actress. Camille's lovely, but I don't like the character of Jackie. And it's now famous. I don't like all that soap opera nonsense in Doctor Who. But all that bloody time wasted in the corridor where she gets together with Pete again, was that just there just to make people go, "Oh my God, it's so bad"? Because I can't stand it.
I thought she was quite funny in that, then when she's pretending that she's never been with anyone else, and then she said, "How rich are you?" And I thought that made me laugh. That was quite funny. Yeah,
because she's a tramp, isn't she, Jackie?
Yeah, she's an old tart. Yeah.
God, but I was watching it, Curse, yesterday, and it's taken me out of the episode slightly, like all that stuff does. So I just think, what the hell is what? Oh God, go make a cup of tea.
Literally feeling corridors.
It's not for me, all that stuff. And I hope any new version, if it comes back, I hope any new version cuts all that and just gets in with the sci-fi action and drama, really.
Yeah.
And just gets rid of all that soap opera stuff, because we've had 20 years of it. And
I can understand why they brought it originally to try and draw new viewers in, but they could have discarded it very, very quickly, but they didn't, sadly. Yeah.
Yeah. What are you saying in the chat? Do you like all that sort of stuff? Because honestly, I'm cringing with all that. You know, and the doctor coming up to try and explain to Jackie who this is, and she, oh, you can shut up. I don't like the doctor being spoken to like that. Call me old-fashioned.
Yeah.
To be honest, like she can say that. It's in season 1 when she's like trying to proposition the Ninth Doctor. That's a lot worse.
Yeah.
Oh, that was horrible in Rose. Yeah. We talked about that. I seem to remember. Yeah, I wasn't happy with that. That's when I knew that this version of Doctor Who wasn't necessarily going to be my thing. I thought if they carry on with that sort of stuff, bringing in the adult stuff, it's going to get messy. And I was right. It got very messy.
If it was the opposite way, and it was Jodie, and there was a male guy, the whole world would stop. There'd be a major kick-off. But
well, that's to digress a little bit. When they did Rosa, the episode with Rosa Parks, there's a kind of space racist in that episode, and he threatens Jodie, and he grabs her by the throat, and that came across as a bit near the knuckles. So they can't really do that kind of thing when it's the other way around, can they? You know?
No.
Yeah. I do think the concept of you got again, I don't think it's necessarily suited to Doctor Who, but the concept of you got this woman who husband had already died, and she'd basically been on her own really, and her daughter obviously left her to go on these adventures, and basically you're kind of giving her a little bit of a kind of happy ending in a way that she, the dead guy from a parallel universe of a dead husband is still there, so it's kind of like almost a second lease of life for that character. Again, I don't necessarily love the idea, but I don't think that in concept is necessarily bad. I just don't think it has a place in Doctor Who.
No.
If you think about it logically, though, they're two different people, so it doesn't make any sense. There's no memories to connect them, really, because they experience two different lives. It doesn't make any sense.
It's also, for me, slightly pervy.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
By that, I mean the fact that here's Pete, who lost his wife, who was murdered by the Cybermen, right? Yeah. Okay, he's moved on, obviously, 3 years. That particular version of Jackie that we reviewed in one of our episodes earlier this year is a cow. She's absolutely vile. Far worse than the one that we know. But here he is faced with another one. Similar for Jackie. Her husband was killed in an accident, which was a totally different story. And there goes all that soap opera element. And here they are meeting again. Really? It's a bit sort of like, ooh,
when I watched it yesterday, I was thinking as those scenes played out, those interminably long scenes played out, I just sat there and thought, but you don't know each other.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and Russell's suggesting that even though they're from parallel universes, there's some sort of bond. But the difference surely would be because they're from parallel universes, they wouldn't collide. They wouldn't get on. They wouldn't have. I don't know. It's a kettle of fish, and I don't know. But there you go. It's interesting what 20 years can do as we look at these things, because sometimes, as Nathan Turner used to say, the memory would cheat. And this seems like it was only yesterday that these things were broadcast, but it's not. Army of Ghosts and Doomsday was broadcast 20 years ago. And it's, one of the wonderful things about these reviews is that people are looking back all the time. And we've now got Russell's second era in which to compare. And Yokai is saying all the sickly soap opera stuff is why I can't watch New Who. Yokai, good to see you. You can't call it New Who anymore, darling, because it's now finished. Hurrah. Let's get the flags out. Oh, sorry, we're not allowed. And Funky is saying, it's like that dull Doctor and Rose stuff in School Reunion when we got Sarah Jane Smith in the episode. Avon is saying, big no, EastEnders BS. Jess is saying to us, it's a very modern day plastic feel to it all. Space Peninsula, RTD introducing the companions, Awful Mum became a recurring theme. It did, didn't it? They all copied him after this, didn't they? And Aurum, hello to you. Jackie Camille can be fun. The other mothers were awful. Martha's mum and Donna's mum were more monstrous than the actual new monsters that they introduced in the new RTD2 had another annoying family. It's a running theme. Farsight, the soap opera is all filler because RTD can only write simplistic plots. Totally agree. If you look at everything that's written, it's the same thing. Even Doctor Who elements of Doctor Who can be put into all this TQ cult nonsense. And I go right back to 1999 and Queer as Folk. And Orem's also saying to us here, he should have been writing Hallmark Channel slot movies. There's still time.
Christmas ones, yeah.
There's still time, though. That's where he may end up after his next TQ cult drama for Channel 4. Who knows? It's good to see you all in the chat. Thank you very, very much. Steve Braddock saying to us that the cringy cameos in part 1 have dated very badly, unlike rewatching classic Doctor Who. There are massive differences, though, and I'm hoping that those three down there can see that between the original Doctor Who and the one that they were born into, because there are massive differences between the two styles, really. I don't know if you would agree with that, you three.
It's completely different. Like I said to you, GT, I think last week, a week before, I'm currently dipping my toes in the world of classic Doctor Who because I haven't watched all of it.
That's good, though. That's good. You've got a hell of a lot of useful things to discover.
Yeah. Unfortunately, none of us have.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah,
but yeah, they feel totally different, and it's quite weird to go back and watch classic Doctor Who, and it feels refreshing. I don't know how that works. I don't know, but it feels like Doctor Who, and I don't know it's because we've got total crap for the past 5 years, 6 years, however long, but it just feels like Doctor Who. Whereas weirdly, going back to this 2 episodes doesn't feel like Doctor Who. Feels like I say, an episode of EastEnders. Feels just very dramatic, over the top, wish-washy.
Well, yeah, and I think you're right there. But again, as I said at the top of the show, this I could watch and compare that to what was done in recent times, especially the Gatwa stuff. It's a huge difference, and it just shows how far, to me, television has gone down. Because this might be bang, 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 but it's not the slop that I watched RTD produce with Gatwa. It's totally different.
Compared to the Gatwa stuff, this feels actually quite good.
This is genius. Yeah, this is classic, isn't it? As I say, at least it's got a story. Yes, it's based all around Rose, boo-hoo, but you know, it's got elements of suspense and tension and build. We've got here from Doctor Who 1963. It was way snappier than I remember. Everything happened so fast. Doomsday feels like it's trying to wrap itself up after just 10 minutes. Again, we were saying that before, weren't we, about RTD's habit of doing that. Mark Greaves is saying, hi guys, Tennant was awful in this. The arrogance of I can do whatever I like. And what happened to the Daleks and the Cybermen? The one time you want them to hit a companion and they miss. I know that's terrible, Mark, but very funny. And Jess is saying to us, I'm mega busy trying to stay cool. I've just finished my cream tea, strawberries, scones and clotted cream. Well, get you.
Sounds nice.
That sounds lovely.
Yeah.
Paul Ashworth, PTA, is saying the last face we ever saw was Rose. Total overkill and desperation. Was it? See, I only watched it yesterday, and I don't remember the last scene. Oh, I do remember the last scene.
Yeah.
Last year push.
Regeneration. Shooting into her. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, you're right. Of course. You're right. How could I forget that? Quite easily, actually.
Yeah. I don't know. That's why maybe it feels tainted now watching this. I don't know. Maybe that's just a me thing. I don't know.
There's a much better version of that on the interweb where Billy Piper is replaced with Charles Hawtrey in the Regeneration.
Yes, we saw that. Yeah, we saw that last year. It's very,
if only, George, if only. Yeah.
Much better. Legion of James is saying, I always felt like I was missing something. Rose was heralded as a definitive companion. Oh, really? By whom? And given an over-dramatic exit. But by the time we got to her leaving, I was so sick of her. And then, as Paul was saying earlier, she comes back a couple of years later.
Yeah,
I don't understand. You're right. The whole thing about these people, RTD, Moffat, Chibnall. I shouldn't really comment about Chibnall because I never saw any of his nonsense. But just bringing people, just let them go. Just let them go. It just gets boring.
It just ruins the memory. If you were fond of a character, it just ruins the memory, you know. Although I did enjoy it. I mean, looking back at Planet Spiders, and Joe gets mentioned in that, being up the Amazon with Professor Jones. That was a lovely little touch. We didn't see her. But
that's right.
Like continuity, that was nice. But you don't want to
difference to mentioning and seeing.
Yeah.
You know, a mention is nice. It's a little bit of continuity, a little bit of in-house thing. Very nice. Yeah. But to see if she'd walked in through the door, it would have changed the whole dynamic of her going and that impact of the Green Death.
Exactly. Yeah.
It undermined the exit of these companions, and I think that's the frustrating thing, because I think if Rose had just been left in a parallel universe, again, it showed the stakes that are involved in the Doctor's life, that people can either, in Adric's case, die, and in her case, get trapped in another universe, and that kind of being it is quite it's a sad ending to that story, and it should have just been left there. The same way I got really pissed off when Hellbent came along, and I thought Clara had a very, very good exit in Faith the Raven. She ends up coming back, annoyed, pissed me off. Obviously, Rory died a million times, and every time he died, the impact of his death just lessened. So, it just. You have the opportunity to have a very good farewell to the characters, and by bringing them back, it just completely pulled the rug under your feet, and it just makes you to care less and want to invest less in the character, because the showrunners are just gonna they can't kill off their character. The same with Bill, should have been left dead as a Cyberman, not brought back by a bloody puddle. Ridiculous. So you just kind of. Once you've seen it so many times, you just go into the mindset, I remember, of just expecting it to happen and just being kind of just disappointed by the end, or apathetic to it. Whereas, when Jo leaves in A Green Death, I love that scene with her and the Doctor, and it's great that we don't get to see her again, obviously, until the Sarah Jane adventures. But that's a lovely, lovely ending, and it's much more powerful and much more impactful for me as an audience member watching that.
I want to ask you, Emilio, as well, because we all know here on the channel that you like the Torchwood series. So Torchwood is set up in this episode, isn't it? This is where it is. It's in Canary Wharf. It's all set up here. We've had this whole series of series 2 hinting at Torchwood, from the one with the werewolf and Victoria, whatever that was called.
Tooth and Claw.
Thank you. So we've had all that, and it's been built up throughout. There's been the references to it, like they did with Bad Wolf the year before. Here's the resolution. We're in the Canary Wharf Tower. It's basically Torchwood. We're getting introduced to the staff. What, as a Torchwood fan, do you think of this as a setup for what was to become the spin-off series the year later?
Yeah, I guess if I remember in Torchwood, I think Captain Jack basically comes out and said that he basically took what was this version of Torchwood, and obviously tried to, and I think he does say in Doctor Who as well, that he says he kind of tried to rewrite it more in the Doctor's way of doing things. So he kind of like saying that this version of Torchwood had not necessarily taking the right approach or doing things necessarily the right way, and then Jack is trying to kind of build his own version of it. It does play a little bit more relevance in what's the episode with Yanto's girlfriend, who's a female Cyberman?
Cyberwoman.
Cyberwoman. That's a cracking episode, Emilio. Yeah,
it's brilliant, isn't it, Paul? But basically, this kind of story obviously plays a lot of relevance to that, because obviously, the kind of she is Yanto's girlfriend and kind of half converted from this story, and that carries it over into Torchwood. But Jack's kind of reason for building Torchwood is basically just taking the leftovers of what's been kind of left of this, organization, and then trying to rewrite it towards more what he thinks the Doctor would be more proud of, basically.
It must have been a hell of a truck to get from Canary Wharf to Cardiff.
Yeah.
Well, apparently they had loads of different Torchwood bases, don't they? I guess.
Oh, do they? Is that how they go?
It's not just London. Canary Wharf is one of them, but.
Oh, so you're paying attention.
What was interesting about Cybermen was the Cyber brand patches you had on. That was quite interesting, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was really, yeah. And we've got this. Thank you, PTA, for your super chat. Why didn't the Cybermen voices stay the same as the Troughton era? Every time they were reintroduced, the voices got worse. They became a camp parody of what was originally good horror. You have to ask Mr. Briggs, I suppose. I mean, these Cybermen voices I don't like because they're very electronic-y, too roboty. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Too. I don't know. As I said, the Cybermen in that version of Doctor Who don't work for me because they don't remind me of being human. And that's the horror of them. It's an interesting point. I don't know if you guys think.
Yeah, I like the. I always loved the Mondasian Cybermen, and I love when they did bring it back in well enough in time. And I think the voice of the Cybermen, as you say, it's got a really good blend between kind of a human voice, but also it's slightly robotic. I think if you get that balance right, as you say, it can be quite kind of horrific, uncomfortable sound. Whereas you're right, this is just pure kind of robotic. It doesn't really sound like this is a human that's been converted, basically. So I think they probably missed a trick there.
They're actually quite hard to understand, these Cybermen as well, aren't they? They're quite difficult.
I think so. Yeah, it's not quite clear. Kirsty's got to bow out with us now, haven't you, Kirst? So nice to see you. Have a nice rest of the evening. We'll see you again very soon. Thank you. See you later. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
We do have Kirsty's scores on the TARDIS doors as well, so don't worry about that. What else we got here? We've got Connor Sullivan saying to us here, what's this? Apparently there was going to be a spin-off called Rose Tyler, Defender of the Earth. RTD eventually decided not to go ahead because it would have had less of the emotional impact of the Rose Series 2 after this story. And yet he brings it back 2 seasons later. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I mean, would that have been right? Would that, or was that just a what?
I think I'd heard a rumor about that back in the day.
Yeah,
that they weren't going to do it enough about it.
Hasn't Big Finish kind of taken that up and developed their own version of that? I think somewhere.
Oh, very probably.
Thank gosh they didn't do it.
I think the negotiations around Billy Piper's fee were probably more of a sticking point than ruining the emotional impact of another Doctor Who episode.
You could be quite right.
When they did bring her back in is it Stolen Earth, Journey's End, whatever it's called, they missed a trick there. They shot the Doctor. They should have shot Rose instead, but they didn't do that.
Well, again, it just lessened that impact. Here he is, from what Connor was telling us, we're not going to do a spin-off because it waters down the leaving. And yet, it was sort of planned that she would come back in series 4 anyway, from what I remember.
And they never stopped mentioning in season 3 with all that kind of after being spurned by Rose's presence kind of thing. Honestly,
bloody awful, stupid thing. Again, I can't wait till we start looking at series 3 because it was bloody awful. Well, it wasn't awful, but that whole running theme was awful.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's God, that would have been awful, wouldn't it, Miles? It would have been terrible. I mean, she did. We have to remember that Doctor Who put Billy on the world stage, and she's had a successful career because of Doctor Who and that break she got Doctor Who. There was no way she was going to be able to do a spin-off series when she was going off to do all these other lovely things that she was being presented with. That's part of the reason she left anyway, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I couldn't think of anything worse than seeing Rose Tyler back again that soon. Oh my gosh, that would be terrible.
We've got here from Stephen O'Neill. JT, please, I hope you mentioned rather that Doomsday aired the same day that Peter Hawkins, who voiced the Daleks and Cybermen through the 1960s, died. There we go. So I've mentioned that then. God love him. Gosh, 20 years. Shows you, doesn't it? Life is very strange. And John, the computer doctor, saying, for the most part, Torchwood is very good. I can't remember. It's there. But I can't remember any of it.
It's a mess.
I got 2 bits.
Sorry, go ahead, Emilio.
No, I'm just saying it's very much a hit and miss series. It's when it's good, it's very good, and when it's bad, it's very bad. So
you're not kidding. Yeah.
I've only ever seen a couple of Torchwood episodes, and I really just could not connect with it at all. But the one thing that sticks in my mind, and I'm sure I've mentioned this before, was reading a review of it when it first launched, and the review said it was Doctor Who with Tourette's.
Yeah, because it was billed as supposed to be. Because I remember being quite surprised, having seen the Torchwood in this, knowing that there was a spin-off coming, And then suddenly the press are all going on about, oh, it's an adult version of Doctor Who and there's sex in it and all this stuff. So, well, that's not going to work. I remember thinking.
But that's why the Doctor didn't appear, because they couldn't see him in that
That's right.
series having sex with someone. Yeah. So
yeah. We've got Funky saying season 2, Rose, is the beginning of a continuous problem in 21st Century Who. So much is put into a character arc in each opening season to be concluded in the finale. There's nothing left for the next season. Good point. That's a really good point. And Aurum saying the 2 iterations of Torchwood made no sense. We went from a huge team to a small gang of sex freaks. Oh, did we better watch it? What kind of world building was that? No, matron, I don't know, but we might review Torch. We have had requests. Young one down
mainly
there.
from Emilio, is it?
Yes, mainly. He's been sending me emails for 2 years.
Children of Earth. I'd happily review that.
Yeah, that is a good one. I agree on that. Yeah.
But isn't it? Don't you have to watch them all in order though to get to Children of Earth? Isn't it one of those things like everything else, like Sarah Jane and everything we're doing?
Not really. It's kind of self-contained.
For Children of Earth, you don't have to. Because I remember I managed to get my mum to watch it. She never watched any Torchwood before that. She actually quite enjoyed Children of Earth. So.
And she said, no, we're watching season 1 and 2 before they watch Children of Earth. Yeah.
We're going to put her through that, Paul.
Yeah.
Chris Kaz is saying to us, I heard he didn't go ahead with Rose Tyler Defender as it was his initials. Oh, that's brilliant. Well done.
I'm surprised you didn't. Yeah.
And Gavin Graham starting to wonder what Equity thought about Briggs taking every role. Work for one more Dalek voice, maybe 2 Cybermen. Guess you get to call the shots when you've got the ring modulator. Equity's not what it was, though.
No.
Is it, George?
No, I mean,
certainly not.
It's not being a completely closed shop. All before this was produced. I mean, it was in the 90s that an Equity card became optional, not mandatory.
Yeah. As you say in that sketch with Mark Gatiss and David Williams, any so-and-so get an Equity card. That's how it works now. Yeah. So,
that caused a little bit of trouble for about a decade, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, it did. Okay, so we're going to have to get onto this. This.
Oh, yeah.
No, I all right. I don't do all this emotional lovey-dovey crap. I really don't. I haven't got any time for this. I have not got any time for Doctor Who. I find this whole thing to be out of place, and I just don't get it. I still 20 years on, gentlemen, I don't get it. I'm watching it yesterday going,
I mean, for me, it was just so over the top, so overwrought, so overwritten, so overacted,
so drawn out.
It just lost all impact and just became annoying.
It's typical of the version that's just ended, though, isn't it? When you get to when you think it's going to end, and a whole new chapter begins. Yeah. So that whole thing where we've just shown that bit there. So that bit, she moves away from her side of the wall. He moves away from his side of the wall. And I think that's it. That's going to be the end.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you've got this whole thing. It should have been. And it should have been just the Doctor going off and getting on with the life. I hate all this lonely old traveller crap.
Yeah.
That's not the Doctor. The Doctor's got friends through time and space, a lot of whom we don't know about because he's been around for God knows how many years now. You know, and he wouldn't show this human emotion over losing a companion like that. Yes, he might get in a bad mood or whatever. I don't know, but he would get on with it, wouldn't he? He wouldn't have that human. Because he nearly said, "Is it me?" or does he nearly say, "I love you"?
Yeah, that's what he's going to say.
That's supposed to be the whole point. Yeah. He's supposed to be saying that.
Yeah. Well, what about all the other girls he's had, if you pardon the expression?
It's funny. Last week, whilst I was getting the ironing out the way, I watched The Invasion of Time. And when it came to Louise Jameson's departure, that one shot of Tom closing the TARDIS doors and just saying, I'll miss you too.
I'll miss you too, Savage.
Just had so much more impact than this 100 times over.
I mean, Farsight's saying it better than I can. It's romantic mush. I can't stand it, Farsight.
I hope you managed to get all your ironing done in 2.5 hours, George.
It's sick making. That's what it is. JT says Marie UK. Steve Braddock. Who gave him the right to burn up some innocent star to talk to Bloody Rose? That's a good point. Yes, that's a very good point. And Funky says it adds some good music though, and just as well because they went to it in the Albert Hall.
Yeah,
so that was a good excuse to do. I don't get it. You know those Albert Hall things, gentlemen, tying in with this, especially those early couple that they did, and they play this whole Rose's departure theme or whatever it's called from Doomsday and all this sort of stuff, and I see all these people looking up at the screen with tears in their eyes. I just think it's me. I can't get emotional over this. What's wrong with me? What's going on? Why aren't I blubbing?
Can I just say that on that, JT, that I was at one of the Doctor Who proms at the Royal Albert Hall, a good few years back now. I was actually sat in the next box to Dudley Simpson, to sort of throw that in.
Oh, nice.
And they did a long suite of Doctor Who music, and the best audience reaction came from Dudley's classic Who music.
Yeah.
I mean, when they did the full orchestrated City of Death suite, the audience appreciation of that was far in excess of
that would have been
new series.
That would have been the 60th anniversary gig in 2023.
No, it was before then. Before then.
Oh no, the radiophonic one, really? Oh,
they have done a couple of times. They've done classic Who music as well. Yeah.
No, it certainly was. It might have been the 50th year, but it was certainly before then.
Oh, yeah, it might have been the 50th.
And of course, obviously Dudley was still around then as well.
Yeah. Yes, it would have been the 50th. Yeah. Avon's got a good point. JT, it's because you're not emotionally invested in the character.
Yeah. An example for us who grew up with classic Who, I still get emotional when I hear the Logopolis music with the changeover from Tom to Peter. Yes. That still gets me. I fill up when I hear that. I really do. It just makes me so sad.
I think that's the Doctor. I mean, we were with Tom for 7 years.
Yeah.
This is a companion. Companions come and go. And they made such a meal of Rose's departure and Billy's departure. It was very difficult for the ladies that came after, because you don't have the same feeling for when Freema goes the year after, when Catherine goes the year after. So I know there's some that get upset by the departure of Karen. I don't. Again.
I was sadder to see Donna go, because I actually, in the end, I liked Donna in the end. I hated her in the Runaway Bride, which coming after this, but I did quite sad when she had a memory wiped and she went back to old Donna. I mean, that was actually quite sad. You know?
I just think that the whole thing about Doomsday and this whole point here, he's burning up this sun to go and say goodbye to her. Oh yeah, and you never went back to pick up Sarah. You.
Well, the other thing that from the 2005 onwards Who that I know of is the companion turns out to be the most important person in the universe. What again?
Yeah.
It
gets tired.
What are the odds of that?
Yeah. It's all set up here, and they don't change the record for 20 years. They keep going with that narrative, because we actually get it with the Gatwa two girls whose names I cannot remember. I'm so sorry. I can't be bothered because I'm not invested in it. I think it's a whole load of rubbish. But those two girls that were in it, it's the same sort of thing. They're the most important companions ever. You've had loads of them by this point. Knock it off. You know, I don't know. The other thing I've forgotten about this particular episode was this. Honest to God, I'd forgotten that, of course, with this being RTD, this is all one long day in the Doctor's life and the adventure continues. So Catherine Tate turns up as at this point she's called the bride, isn't she? Because he hasn't written this or they're not revealing Donna's name. So this again sort of surely if you felt that emotional resonance with all that big build-up of the crescendo of the music and Rose going and crying and the Doctor nearly says, which he should never do, the human thing, oh, I love you too, blah, blah, blah. There he is there, preempting Gatwa by 20 years, because there he is crying. I can't stand all that sort of stuff. And then suddenly, that's all dried up. Brand new working day, as you can tell on the film. And then he walks around the console and there's Catherine Tate. That... I can't remember. I must have been shocked by that back in 2006, but I don't remember being that. Did we know Catherine Tate was coming into Doctor Who at this point?
Yeah, I can remember the press carrying stories that Catherine Tate was the new Doctor Who girl.
Can you? Because I can't at all.
And I remember reading these stories and thinking, really? And then seeing her appear at the very end of this episode and thought, oh, she is the new girl.
Funky is saying the true Karen has entered the TARDIS. Yeah, it is a bit of a shock, isn't it?
So you're right, it takes the sting of any dramatic effect they tried to do with the previous exit by putting it at the end of it. It just kills that stone dead if you're into it, if you found it emotional,
Yeah.
Connor is saying, guys, romance stuff is because RTD invented the Time War concept, so Rose was the first companion since the Time War. So angry and upset, Doctor damaged trauma by the Time War. Rose made him more human, etc., and better. Yeah, you're right, Connor. I would imagine that's the case, but for me, the Doctor is not human.
Yeah,
but I think that point is actually a very, very valid point. And so Rose does have some sort of, within the Doctor's life, some sort of special significance because of that. However, it's not explored. That isn't really explored in this episode. If it was that the reason why he got upset, not the "I love you" bit, and I wish they didn't have any of that stuff, but that's why he was extra upset than maybe he normally would be. And that had been kind of explored in the series, that particular point, a little bit more clearly, because I think there's a lot of kind of like putting two and two together with that one. Then I think would have landed, I think, a little bit more powerfully. That Rose has a particular, the Doctor's extra emotionally attacked because of what she meant to him, how she's helped him get out of his post-trauma state, basically. I just don't think it should go down the love route. I think that should be more like, this person meant a lot to me. If you're gonna go down that route. Again, I'm not saying I would want to go down this over dramatic route.
Yeah.
But I do think that's a more powerful reason for him to be upset.
Do you know, I get what you're saying, but do you know what gets me, Emilio? He's had countless companions before this one, and this one seems to be, for some reason, special. We had it in the Ninth Doctor's era as well. And for me, having grown up with countless Doctor Who girls beforehand, I was not happy about this, and I'm still not happy about it, because Rose is not the number one. For me, that's Sarah. And he didn't even bother to go back for her because he's an alien. And this one, he's blubbing around the console room, feeling sorry for himself, this lonely god thing that RTD insists on making him into, which I don't agree with at all. And then he's got this whole burning up a star. And then he mopes around for the next 14 episodes.
Yeah.
I guess at the end of the day...
Sorry,
no, you go, Mark.
They do mention the significance of Rose 2 seasons later, at the end of season 4, where Tennant, when he drops off, he tries to pawn off the other Tennant to Rose and sort of says, "You made me better," and all that sort of stuff. They do bring it up, but they wait 2 seasons later to bring it up.
Yeah. It would be more impactful without it being brought up in the second.
I mean, Connor is saying the companions before were not before the Time War, though, JT. Yeah, I get it, but again, it just seems to me it's very undoctory. It's very not the Doctor as a Time Lord to just pile everything onto this 19-year-old human female. It doesn't work for me. I mean, it's going to be different for everybody because we're getting different things out of it. For me, it doesn't work. And Funky is saying to me, JT sent Sarah a dog. It doesn't matter.
To illustrate how original Doctor Who got this right, I can instantly think of a moment in the Seeds of Doom where Tom says, "Have you met Miss Smith? She's my best friend."
Best friend,
and that's it. And that is
that's all it needs.
That is so on the money.
Yeah. I like this from Farsight that's saying the Doctor saw a huge chunk of the universe destroyed in Logopolis. Imagine if that was done now, it would be epic. But it was massive. He didn't go off looking for Nookie with a human. No, he didn't, did he? I like that word, Nookie. Let's bring that back. Do you remember Nookie Bear?
Yes, yeah.
He was funny, wasn't he? Roger
I was thinking of Jim Dale in Carry On Again, Doctor as Dr. Nookie.
Dr. Nookie,
who, with Mrs. Moore, establishes the Moore Nookie Foundation.
Happy days there. All right, so any standout moments for you all, guys?
Well, like I said earlier, the cliffhanger for part 1 and 2 with the Daleks appearing and the Cybermen and all that wonderful stuff all around the world was fabulous. And I think if I was very excited by that as an adult. If I was 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever, I've been really excited by it and we've been superb. So that's one of my favourite bits of the cliffhanger, particularly.
Great.
It's a very minor thing, but the one thing that did make me sit up and take notice, I mentioned it earlier, was the absolutely spot on recreation of the Cybermen coming out of their tombs from Tomb of the Cybermen.
Yeah. Like it was nicely done. Yeah, through the plastic. What about you two? Any sort of things that you've really clinged onto for 20 years? Just making them feel old, basically. The kids just making them feel old. It's 20 years old, by the way. This show,
it is making me feel really old. No, I think if I can look at the fondness of, like Paul says, at the end of that first cliffhanger, that is lovely. That looking back on it now, it is a really lovely memory. So I would probably say that part. And sort of going back to what we said earlier, Rose's departure was really impactful for the younger kids back in the day. It was big. It was dramatic. Watching it now, it is awful. But back then, that's why we say at the proms, and there's kids crying, and there's even adults looking at the crying.
Oh, I know. What a load of wusses.
Yeah, it was big. So back then, it was. But now, no. But yeah, I'll probably say the end of part 1 is probably the highlight. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then for me, I wouldn't say one particular scene's a highlight, but I always like the build-up of how they set it up in the Cybermen 2 part in the second series. That basically, when you get the Doctor kind of explaining that basically who's been through the void, who hasn't been through the void, and what that actually means in terms of you're going to get sucked through. I think that's again from a storytelling perspective, it's kind of nicely kind of teed up into what the kind of resolution to getting rid of the Daleks and the Cybermen. I thought that was quite neatly tied into, which I really liked, and I completely agree with Miles. I remember you remember the day where you watched this scene. You remember it, as Miles said, as a kid, it did have a big impact. I guess the thing is, when you grow up and when you start watching like classic Doctor Who, you start to realize you don't want any of that lovey-dovey stuff with the Doctor. You want him to be an alien. You want him to react to these things in an alien way. As I say, Joe Grant, The Green Death is a great example. Leela's a great example. I'd rather have those kind of exits than these kind of exits now. But I guess for a general audience and just for kids our age, people will still remember this. It's probably one of those big TV moments. So, I guess in getting Doctor Who into the mainstream as a dramatic moment, RTD did a good job in that respect. But is it right for Doctor Who? No. That's how I'm summing it up.
Brilliant points. I totally agree with that. I think that's really, really good points. I have a standout moment, believe it or not, Who viewers, from these episodes. And this is from the playback, watching it yesterday. I like the bit where Rose is with the 4 Daleks, the Cult of Skaro. Be careful how you say that on a Friday night. So, you've got...
It's not a typo, no.
Yeah. So you've got Rose and the whole thing about when she says it's the Doctor, how the Daleks move back. Now that is correct. That's right. The Daleks should be afraid of him at this point as well. And any new producers that may be watching for the future, the Daleks are afraid of him.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that one, but what kicked the legs from under that for me was that incredibly hack line that she had, where she said, an army of Cybermen, you don't turn a hair, but one Doctor and you're afraid. It's like, oh my God, that is such a cringy line.
Yeah, it could have been rewritten, that line.
Yeah.
Because also, I quite like the fact as well that we seem to, when we do forget, this is Tennant's first outing with the Daleks.
Yeah.
And I think he actually does quite well, because being the fan, he knows the history. He knows how important these creatures are in the Doctor's life as characters. It can be a bit in the scene where he first meets them, he's too nonchalant. I think the Doctor can't be that laid back with the Daleks because he does understand. But how I've put it down to Tennant's performance is the fact that because he knows these things could kill him instantly, because there's that much hatred between the Daleks towards the Doctor, I choose to think that's why the performance is very sort of flippant. You know,
that moment he had it with a picture looking down the lens of the Dalek, that worked really well. He did that. He sold that really well. I think that was quite, about talking about him being trapped in the machine. That's a lovely moment. Yeah.
I think it's nice.
That's why you scream. He said that's a lovely moment. Yeah.
And yet, still, for me, I have to say, back in 2006, in this last episode of this season, obviously before the Christmas episode comes out, The Runaway Bride, he's still not the Doctor for me. Isn't that strange?
Yeah.
He's still not there for me. I'm still maybe I'm mourning the loss of Eccleston. I don't know. But for me at this time, I'm just thinking it could possibly be because of what we were talking about before, about the whole arrogance of the 10th Doctor and Rose swagger. It could be because of that. Because I'm quite pleased at this point. No disrespect to Billy. Love her. I'm quite good. I'm glad she's going. But then I'm thinking, oh, this one's coming back. I'm sorry, but that's just how I was at the time. A little bit different this time round. But yeah. Lex, thank you, Lex, for your super chat. Very dated and boring in scenes. Like Trisha Talk Show. Oh God, I've forgotten all about that. I tell you. The Trisha Talk Show. What happened to her? Plus, we hear the beginnings of the Torchwood theme music. Good thing it was the Daleks, and he's given a score because we're going to come to that. He's given a score out of 1 to 10, but we are going to come to that. Thank you, mate. We're going to come to that in a second. Interesting, though, isn't it? Really, Funky is saying it was also the beginning of the Alonzi.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Oh, God, was it?
And it is also the beginning of the Cult of Garo kind of storyline, which again I quite like the fact that in
I feel like that as well. Yeah.
The Dalek stories actually like kind of follow each other. So you've got the 4, and then you see them then in Manhattan. Then it becomes 1, and then obviously that 1 plays an important part in the series 4 finale. And then that kind of then slightly carried through into Matt Smith's first run. But I quite like the fact that you kind of follow that journey with these Daleks. I think. And quite an interesting way to go about it.
I dread the day we decide to look at those Manhattan episodes because they're bloody awful. Oh, that was a spoiler. We've got here Freshy saying it might have been the beginning of the end for RTD as he was starting to get void of all ideas. See what you did there. Well done. See what you did there. Void of all ideas. Very, very good. Okay, then. So, yeah, it's now the time where if you want to in the chat, we're going to do scores on the TARDIS stores. If you're new to us, this is where you can mark the episodes, the 2 of them together, if you like, or separately, whatever, out of 10. Okay? Let's get into it.
Scores on the TARDIS stores. If you like this story, did you think it bores? Give your scores on the TARDIS stores.
This is going to be interesting anyway. Kirsty was with us before, as you'll know. She said she was going to give it a 7 and a 6. So 7 for Army of Ghosts and 6 for Doomsday. That was Kirsty's scores on the TARDIS stores. All right, then. Start putting your they've started. They've started putting them in the chat. Thank you very much. We'll come to you in a second. Chris Kaz is saying to us that the 10th Doctor and Rose were having far too much fun. They needed to break it up. But they were also getting quite arrogant, weren't they, with it?
Yeah.
It was flippant. So, that mark in The Impossible Planet, that remark, we could just get back into the TARDIS and nip off. Ho, 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 ho. It was becoming a bit self-aware, Doctor Who, at this particular point. Anchor Gray, good to see you. I hated Rose in Series 2, but I enjoyed this one at the time. Problem watching it now is that RTD and Moffat have repeated the trope so many times since it's become boring, and the RTD2 era has tainted it for me. Well, let's see how it's how they're getting on here. We're going to start with Paul. Your marks for these episodes, please, mate.
Now, I'm hoping my opinion won't mean I'll have to send back some of my Who's Views pencils, but I actually quite enjoyed this particular episode. Like I said, I have watched it a couple of times since the original broadcast, but it must be at least 10 years since I last watched it, I think.
Doesn't time fly?
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. But I watched it, like I said earlier, with my missus, and we both really enjoyed it and had fun watching it.
Yeah.
So, I enjoyed the Dalek Cybermen stuff. The soap opera stuff mentioned already is too heavy for me. There's too much of it. But the Dalek Cybermen worked quite well for me. I think Graham Harper's a great director.
Oh, he is. We didn't talk much about Graham,
did we?
He
still is a great director, although there are quite a lot of good directors in New Who compared to classic Who, so that does make a difference. But I'm going to give it 7 out of 10. I actually quite enjoyed it. Yeah.
Good for you.
But I'm going to say one thing. It's called Army of Ghosts, not Army of Ghosts, and Doomsday. It should have one title and one score for one story. Okay,
I never understood RTD's fascination for that.
So we don't name it if we want it going to go to Dalek Master Plan and go, well, I like Nightmare Begins, but the rest of it's crap. You don't do that. It's a whole story. Okay, that's
I never understood when he said, I don't want to call it part 1, 2, because it might put off the audience. Again, it was that thing that I still continues to this day, where people in the industry look down at the public and think they're thick.
Yeah.
I can't watch part 2 because I didn't see part 1. Well, if that would happen, surely would say, actually, I'll catch up.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never understood that. Anyway, George, what about you?
Well, I know Graham Harper is usually a very inventive and energetic director, but I think the material he was given to work with this time through, it was pretty obvious he was swimming upstream to make it anyway dynamic. It did kick into life a bit when the Cybermen and the Daleks were on screen, but it was so bogged down with the tedious, mind-numbing, emotional overkill throughout both episodes. I didn't find it offensively bad. I just thought it was completely meh. I quite happily. I wouldn't sit there and have my eyes glued on the screen. I could be on in the background while I was reading a book, and I would still consider that I'd seen it.
You wouldn't do your ironing too, is what you're saying.
I would say both episodes, the whole thing, 5 out of 10.
Oh, right. Okay, for both of them. Fair enough. Thank you, George. Miles, we're going to go to you now. What are you going to give on scores on the TARDIS doors?
I'm along the same lines as George, actually. I've said it a few times. I was bored. I think it's dated really, really badly. I don't know if it's because now there's so much baggage. Watching RDT2, we now know, obviously, now watching the whole 20 odd years, Rose comes back multiple times. It takes away from this story. I think if she had just gone bye, we'd never seen her again, I would have really held this story quite high, personally. But I think because we know she comes back multiple times, there's no real stake. I don't feel bad. I'm not a big fan of Series 2, bar a few episodes. So I'm actually going to go one lower. I'm going to go 4.
Oh, right.
I am. I just don't like it. I'm just bored. Like George was saying, I probably could have sat on my phone and just listened to it in the background, to be honest.
Yeah, that's something we couldn't have done 20 years ago.
True.
It shows you, doesn't it, how things change so quickly, Mobile phones were around, of course, but you couldn't have done all your internet searching and stuff like you can now. All right, then, Emilio, what are you going to give these episodes then?
So, out of the Russell finales, not the stronger, and actually I'd rather happily go and rewatch Utopia and Sound of Drums and Laughter of the Time as a set of as a finale. I'd rather go back, and mainly probably because it's less dated, really. So that finale in particular, it's not so dragged down by 2007. I think the Army of Ghosts is actually a solid part 1. I think I like the Doctor's reaction to Jackie basically, being quite happy that she thinks that the ghosts or dead people are kind of coming back, and he kind of I think it's horrific. It's disgusting. Again, it shows the alien side of the Doctor, that he thinks morally differently to humans. And I quite like the build up towards the Daleks and the Cybermen, and Mickey kind of showing up as well. So I think that's all done quite nicely. So I give the first part an 8, and then Doomsday, I think, is massively dragged down by all the lovey-dovey stuff with Jackie and Pete, and I don't like the ending on retrospect. Now I've discovered Classic Who, and I've come to the very firm conclusion that romance needs to get kicked out of Doctor Who in its entirety. I think it's just, as you said, George, it's quite dramatic. Everything's over the top emotionally, and that takes you quite out of the second part. There are some good bits. I think obviously the dialogue between the Daleks and Cybermen is very funny. I mentioned about the kind of the kind of logic to how they get themselves out of the situation. I think is very good. So there's some small bits, but it doesn't kind of do anything to hold up the second part. So I'll give the second part a 4, which kind of then leaves me at kind of 6 out of 10 overall.
Wow. I wonder how many others, guys, who were young like these two back then have grown up and looked at it again now to say, oh, it's not what I thought it was. That'd be quite interesting to find out, I think. Right, so for myself now, do you know how I've been saying things like Time Flight is now a gem for me and Time Lash is now a gem for me simply because of what I've been through with RTD and Gatwa? Yeah. This is as well, believe it or not. I can't believe the difference in the quality, as I said at the top of the show, of television 20 years ago to where it is now, because a lot of it has gone really downhill. This is actually, I agree with what you were saying, Emilio. I think the first part, Army of Ghosts, is actually quite nicely put together, and I think it hangs properly, and it goes from A to B to C for me in a very nice way, although I don't like the soap opera elements. Episode 2, Doomsday. Oh, I can't be bothered with it. It's just, I would have rather have seen more of Daleks, the Cybermen, and the Doctor. But as we've all said before, all that lovey-dovey crap, all the goodbye thing, it takes away from the actual what I want to see. It's like the one we reviewed with Capaldi, where not much is, all that emotion's getting in. It's a similar sort of format. You know what I mean? Everything's based on getting to the resolution as quickly as you possibly can. So, however, I'm actually going to say for Army of Ghosts, I'm going to give it a 7 because I was entertained. I can watch it and I can overlook the various elements I don't like. However, with Doomsday, I'm going to give that a 5 because I can't, because it got too much. And I was like, oh, God, I can't be done with all this. So there you go. That's my scores, everybody. Let's get into the chat and see what they're saying. So Lex gave it a 1. Steve Braddock is saying 8 out of 10. Excellent suspense build up to the part 1 cliffhanger, but looking back after 20 years, too soapy. The emotional weight leans too heavily on Rose's departure. Avon is saying 5. I enjoy seeing the Daleks. Absolutely. Funky is then saying to us, please don't do the Manhattan episodes. Oh, it'll be some time off. God, it'll be some time off. John Roberts, 5 out of 10 for both episodes, not dated well and never rewatched. Wow, there you go. PTA is saying 7 out of 10. The cyber voices ruined it. Thanks for that, PTA. Bill Harry, however, is giving it a 10 out of 10. We got rid of Rose Tyler, temporarily at least. What's not to like? What a bitch. Ooh, Bill. Freshie 2006. Hi, Freshie. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. That's very good of you. Dalek Shalom is saying the music 3 out of 10. Tenant 2 out of 10. Story 3 out of 10. Overall 3 out of 10. Oof. Fair enough. Farsight is giving it 2 out of 10 for both. Oh, you see now. Oh, you see now. I thought this was going to be huge scores just because of what happened 20 years ago. You know, because it was the best thing ever back then. Do you remember? Connor Sullivan is saying to us, I do love how the Daleks slide backwards when Rose says to the Dalek, "That's the Doctor," and then twitching, giving them a bit of character. It's how they should be, as I said there. It's how they should be. Cara the Tolkien Nerd is saying, I'm a 5 and a 5.5. Sorry, I didn't enjoy this one. Andy is saying Army 8 out of 10. Doomsday 5 out of 10. 4 out of 10 from Funky. Typical RTD finale where he pulls random bits that shows he hadn't thought about the arc at all before writing it.
Yeah.
Wow. Chris Kaz is coming in with 6 out of 10. Hello, Graham. He's still out. How dare you? But simply have to send my scores. My least favourite Doctor, Gatwa doesn't count, and least favourite companion, 3 out of 10, and that's pushing it. Goodness me. This is a real surprise to me, guys. Honestly, these scores are really surprising.
Is it partly, do you think, I think come back to what Miles said, which is in what prism we now view these episodes is obviously in the back of RTD2. But also, we've had way too much. Obviously, we've had way too much of David Tennant, and David Tennant was my doctor growing up. And if you'd asked me, 10 years ago, I would have, I would have been like, yeah, he's my number one. But with all the politics, the fact that he's been in it way too much, for me, he's no longer my favorite doctor. I'll give it to John Pertwee any day of the week. But I think so I think for us fans now, as we rewatch it, it's really hard to be honest, or watch it completely objectively, if that makes sense, and
it does. Objectively. I think you're onto something. From my point of view, it's interesting because our age group, us three up here on top of Celebrity Squares up here, we will look back on the Doctor Who we grew up with, the original, the proper Doctor Who, 63 to 89. And as you can tell with our reviews, it's fondness. But what we're looking at here is we're looking at something from 20 years ago. We looked at something from less than that with the Capaldi one. We looked at the Age of Steel and the rise of the Cybermen. It's not necessarily fondness. And I think, to me, that proves that the version that's just ended will date horribly.
Yeah.
And you will not be able to watch any of that version of Doctor Who, God bless it, in 50 years' time. They will still be watching William, Patrick, John, Tom, Peter, Colin, and Sylvester.
Yeah.
I think the last iteration of Doctor Who is already well on the way to being horribly dated.
Oh, God, yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's very interesting. And we'll see more of that as we carry on here at Who's Views, as we start to review the version that's just ended, as we throw the odd ones in, as we get through our review shows. Stephen Braddock has given it a 7 out of 10. It had some very dated scenes in part 1 and some cringe moments, especially that ending, and Rose was just, ugh. But I like that. Ugh. But there was a lot to enjoy too in this too, and I enjoyed it. Good for you. Good Gray is saying, at the time I would have given it a 9. Today I'll give it a 7. Still very good. Yokai. I couldn't stand Ten and Rose, and the soppy sentimental stuff was unwatchable. Oh, come and sit with me. Tell you. Jess Corbin, behave yourself. With Bill and Ben are in jail for burning their flower pots, charges for smoking pot. Oh, you're terrible, you are. It's Julianne. Julianne, better than RTD2, but it's a low bar. And in rewatch, these feel so dated compared to classic Who. Too mushy, a crappy Mills and Boone. It's 3 out of 10.
Actually, spot on with the Mills and Boone's reference there, Julianne. As I was watching it, I did think, God, did Barbara Cartland get a co-writing credit for this?
How many pages?
Now, I'm going to ask a question here. Would you consider these episodes to be canon? And there's a point to this. Would you or not?
So me?
In general, the panel in general. Would you consider these episodes to be canon within the series? Would you or not? There's a point coming.
I would say yes, but I just don't engage with them.
Just because, yeah.
I would agree with George. Yes, it is. For me, it does sort of stop around about Capaldi, because that's where I really truly tune out. But I wouldn't diss Eccleston Tennant, number 1, Smith or Capaldi. Yeah.
Okay, the reason why I don't know if Miles and Emilio feel the same. What do you feel? Would you say it's definitely canon then?
Yeah, I do say so.
Yeah. The reason why I'm saying this is because there's an EastEnders reference in this. That means Dimensions of Time cannot be canon because it's a TV show in this, so it can't count. So, yeah,
and we will remind you of that in a couple of weeks' time when we review that. Yes.
I do need to jump, guys. But yeah, just on your point, Paul. For me, the Doctor died when Capaldi, and that was it, basically. So anything beforehand, I do kind of canon. Anything afterwards, I delete from my mind.
Yeah. Emilio, thank you for joining us. We'll see you again soon. Have a great rest of the night. Look after the baby.
See you guys.
See you, mate. See you later. Ta-ra. We're going to carry on now with Gavin Graham saying to us 8. Those bits I enjoyed drag up the whole. Believe me, the drags are major, but Tennant and Piper sold it all at the time. Thank you, Gavin. Sheila B in the Devotions is saying 6 out of 10 for all of it. Dalek Shalom is going and saying, I never want to see them again, and to think New Who is far worse, 3 out of 10. Connor Sullivan, 8 out of 10 for both episodes. Thanks for that, Connor. And Yokai, well, it's this. I couldn't stand 10. Yeah, we've got 3 out of 10. Thank you, Yokai, 3 out of 10. Oh, Freshie. Glad you didn't have to watch it again with rose-tinted glasses. Come on. Come on, Freshie. You can do better than that. 8 out of 10 from Doctor Who 1963. Thank you, mate. Any more for any more? Have we got any more there? Stephen Braddock saying, I wanted to see scenes of the actual Cybermen invasion, not the soap nonsense. Yeah, me too, actually. And Marie UK, anything with Tennant is a 1 for me now. Oh, bless you. He's ruined his own reputation with a lot of us, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has, yeah.
He really has. He's such an idiot.
400 quid. Yeah.
I know. Farsight is saying, JT, it wasn't for me. I detest all of RTD's Doctor Who. He always was a hack. His stuff wasn't even B-movie sci-fi. I'm going to agree with you. You know, I will. Yeah. And Captain, my Captain, exactly the same. Tennant was my favourite new Doctor Who, but now after he came back again, probably my 4th. An 8 out of 10 from Connor. Much better than RTD2 crap. Since I was roughly 12 when this was aired, bless you, and grew up with this era, it had a special place in my heart. Fair enough. Paul, 1 for you here from Funky. Dimensions in Time has better Cybermen.
Yeah, the versatile Cybermen, that's true, yeah.
If you haven't seen it, we are reviewing Dimensions in Time, God help us, in a couple of weeks' time. It's up on the playlist for you now on the show page. I'm really enthralled and I can't wait.
It's 15 minutes, you'll never get back, but it's worth watching. Yeah.
Needs the system. We're going to get a 3-hour show out of it. I don't think.
Oh, yeah, I think we will. Yeah.
I don't think so. Avon is saying to you, Paul, no, they're not canon. And Dark Hall, it's good to see you, is giving it a -10. Avon is saying it ended with Tom for me. A bit like George now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Funky also saying to you, Paul, in this universe, EastEnders is a fly on the wall documentary series.
Okay, fair enough. Thanks for that. Yeah.
Oh, listen, I am really surprised, Who viewers, because because of what I remember from 20 years ago, which isn't much, it was a big thing and everybody seemed to be banging on about it. And then we heard about it for God knows how many years after it. Oh, blah, blah, blah. And the music was played all the time and all the simpering and the whimpering and people crying in the street. Not for me. I'm really surprised. And it just shows you, I'm going to say it again, I am convinced, and I've been saying for years, that version of Doctor Who that started in 2005 and finished last year in 2025 is not going to age well at all. Interesting.
And just as special effects, as I mentioned earlier, you know, it's interesting that classic Who gets a bad rep about special effects, but some of the CGI in this is really bad. Really bad.
Yeah. And that's going to date as we can continue on, isn't it? It's going to look more and more. I mean, even in this episode where the Cybermen fly up, you can see it's the same Cyberman multiple times. Where now it's cheap enough for them to do different Cybermen and things like that. The Daleks are all the... That's the problem. As we were saying on Blake 7, on our Blake 7 review on Monday, thank goodness they're bringing back models into science fiction films.
Well, I mean, that's something about the original series. A lot of the model work still stands up very well today. I mean, look at the Jaggeroth's ship taking off at the start of City of Death.
Yeah.
Or the Drashings in the Marshland in Carnival of Monsters. They look terrific.
They do.
The Spaceship and Invisible Enemy, which they redid and didn't do any better when they did that CGI version. The originals were so much better.
But it's like Richard was saying on the Blake 7 show on Monday night, because Richard, as Who viewers, he joins us for our Blake 7 reviews. He's building actual models for the Blake 7 and Doctor Who Blu-ray collection box sets, and they look fabulous. And because it's a model, it just looks a little bit more real than the CGI is going to look. As we're seeing now in Doctor Who, it might have looked good at the time. Do you know, this is the episode? These are the episodes, of course, that, God bless her, Verity Lambert allegedly said to Russell T Davies, because he said in Doctor Who magazine, didn't he? I'm so jealous, and I'm paraphrasing. She said to him, I'm so jealous because you managed to put millions and millions of Daleks into London and invade London. And he turned back, but so did you, because it was all in there. The kids at the time were imagining it. Now you have to see it. You have to be shown it. In our days, it was just happened. And that's why the memory cheated, in a sense, because we visioned it all up in our heads. Sad in a way, isn't it? It is sad in a way. Great chat, everybody. Thank you. Yeah, Freshie is saying, sorry, I have a bad sense of humor. Thank you all for putting up with the puns and jokes. Keep them coming because we love them.
Yeah, I love a dad gag. Me.
Yeah. Oh, bless it. It's true. Listen, great show, everybody. Paul, Miles, George, thank you so much. Also to Emilio and Kirsty as well, of course. Really enjoyed that. Hope you've enjoyed this. Another one in our celebrations of Cybermen at 60 here in 2026. Where are we going next time? Well, you'll have to make sure you're subscribed to find out, because in September we'll be doing another one. We'll let you know about that in towards the end of August. So make sure you're subscribed. If you're new to us, please do subscribe. If you have been subscribed for a while, please make sure you are still subscribed. You can give us a like. You can give us a hype, if you like, after the show as well. You can share it, and you can leave some comments for it. You know what you're doing. It's just that YouTube recommends I tell you all the time. I got a little thing through from them saying, "Are you doing this?" Anyway, so there you go. Until next time on the show, thanks for joining us. We will see you very soon. So from Paul, from Miles, from George, Emilio, Kirsty, and myself, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. We'll see you again soon. Ta-ra, everybody.
Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.